Yeah. Permission to speak. Yeah. Permission to speak. Yeah. Permission to speak. Permission to speak. Permission to speak. Really. Yeah. Permission to speak. Permission to what? Permission to speak. Permission to speak. Permission to speak. Freely permission to speak. Permission to speak. Freely.
So freedom speakers, we got something pretty serious and heavy for y'all today, man. We're going to be talking about, brace yourself. We're going to be talking about taxes, man.
Taxes, man.
Taxes.
Especially for all the people who are entrepreneurs, who are hustlers, who weekend warriors, who do a couple things for money on the side. Anybody that wake up every day and punch a clock, like this information is for you. Because it affects us all, man. And if you a homeowner or you own in anything, you become an entrepreneur by default. All right. So I want to repeat that so you really understand what I'm saying. Once you own something, you become an entrepreneur by default.
Hire people to work on your place. You got to pay a separate set of, it's pretty much like becoming you run your home, you manage your home.
Mm-hmm.
Something break. You got to fix it. You in charge.
Yeah. You get your card. Normally that's the first one, man. Managing your whip, man.
Can't call the leasing office now.
For sure, man. So what we going to do first is, man, break down what taxes are. And a lot of people are subjected to taxes and not even really fully understanding what they are. Okay. So if you a W-2 worker, meaning like you work a 9 to 5 somewhere, man, you get a W-2, or if you a entrepreneur who classifies as an S-Corp and you make yourself an employee of your own company, you get a W-2 as well. So shout out to all W-2 workers, 1099 workers, entrepreneurs, anybody who receives any kind of cash through Cashapp, Backpage. I don't care how you get your money, but this information is for you. Taxes are, and this is the way I break it down, taxes are your fees to the government, which we would nickname, for the lack of a better term, use the mob. The government is the mob. They can be really cooperative with you if you paying your fees and paying your tax, or paying your fees to them, which are taxes. They'll be very cooperative with you. They'll even go to bat for you if you are lining up with what they're saying.
You being cooperative with them.
Yes, it's not a negotiable thing too much, man. You have to be cooperative with them. Biggest point you don't want to do is get in bad with them. All right. So a lot of times people do not even know where to start or how it starts. People kind of getting in bad with the taxes. Yeah. So as entrepreneurs, when we host an orientation, a lot of times people fill out a W-9 form, they fill out a W-4 form, and they ask you head of household. They ask you if you're single, if you're married but filing separate or joint. They ask you a lot of these questions. They ask you dependents, how many dependents you have. They ask you if you're a legal immigrant to work, if you want deductions out. And a lot of times people don't know what that means. They ask us as the entrepreneur or the decision maker that's helping them, and they don't know. But in most cases, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
A lot of people will claim 10 dependents on their taxes. and they don't have 10 people or 10 things that they're taking care of. So just a disclaimer, I am not a tax professional. I just pay them to help me stay in line with the government as their profession and something that I and the team needs. Okay. I have to ask these questions to make sure I'm in the right. So when we start talking about taxes, I have enough money left over to pay these taxes to the government, not just the IRS government, but your local government, your city taxes, your state taxes. Rita, only Rita I remember as a kid was the bus. RTA, shout out to 216 Cleveland, Ohio, baby.
Auntie Rita.
So as a homeowner, man, I got hit with these Rita taxes, man, and I know you own your home.
Yeah.
So tell me just some of the things that you and your wife deal with when it comes to just the taxes and the expenses of being the one in charge, man.
Like you said, man, cooperation. I'll be honest with you, man. My wife is wonderful when it comes to complying with the government. You know what I'm saying? The local tax, like you said, the Rita tax, we paying them now. We paying them from about a year ago, and then we got to pay for last year. Well, 2 years ago, then you got to pay for last year. You know, don't get frustrated. Keep your head strong. You're going to be all right. Just let them know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And pay them. You can get on the payment plan if you kind of slipped up from the year before, like Chief said. Comply.
Please. Just
comply.
It's easier that way.
And they call you, answer the phone. They send you a letter, say thank you. You know, but definitely, you know, don't get behind. Because, you know, once you get behind, man, they're not going to leave you alone. You might think you got to wait for a little bit, but they're going to come back and they're going to hit you with some interest. They're going to hit you with some penalties.
Man, and if you've ever been in those positions where you got hit with the interest,
I got smacked when I was younger, man.
I
was a baby.
Might use your name?
No, man, when I was 18, 19, just not knowing, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Euclid Public School District, man, but they didn't teach us these things. No school district does, as far as I know. They don't teach you these things, and these are the things that kids need to know coming out of high school and into adulthood is how to properly not only just manage money, but knowing about taxes, what to expect, you know? So my first year as an adult, man, the whole year I was 18, 2010? Apparently it was they ain't have me on paper. Hey, you was working, but you ain't filed. Yeah, I did. No, you didn't. So we just gonna assume the amount of money you made. Unless you got a W-2 from that year, you know, prove it. So instead of me just owing, you know, $3,000, I owe $7,000. Then to say, oh, you can't show what you made. So here, we just gonna say you owe this, just to be safe, just so we feel like we actually getting the money that we owe. You know, hey, look here, I got $3,800. What you think? We'll take it, young niggas. But tighten up. Tighten up. We gonna see you next year.
It is no evading them, man.
Not at all.
No evading.
Don't try. You might think you gotta wait for a little bit, but no, you did not. They know where you live.
Yeah, man. It's one of those you can't hide. It's easier it's better just to comply.
You can't win. Yeah, don't get me started.
I got you, man. We're gonna wait to do that for the music that we got today,
cool.
man.
It's a perfect song for the scenario.
But I'm gonna give you a quick story, man, of just before we even go actually breaking through the layers of taxes and kind of how they do affect you. I myself have dealt with taxes in all realms of just as an entrepreneur. All of the bills are addressed to me. All the taxes are addressed to me, so on and so forth. As a disclaimer, I never went to school for business. I learned through trial and error. I read books, though. I read. This is before YouTube really was popular, but I would like watch different things on YouTube, not just about starting a business, but discipline stuff. Just like, hey man, get up in the morning, drink water, stretch, touch your toes. Stuff that just sounds cliche, but it actually is revitalizing, if you will.
Yeah, beneficial to you in the long run.
With that being said, as I have grown in business, I got a chance to stand in my mistakes. So some years back, I didn't have the proper financial literacy. Not that I didn't have the proper financial guidance or help. I just was too much big on myself of I got it understood. I can make the money. I can outrun it. I'm thinking that I know business and I'm not. And I'm just blowing cash. I'm blowing cash. I'm blowing cash. No credit, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
And a rule of thumb and a quote that I like to use, man, is save your capital to pay the capital. Get you some lines of credit.
Yeah.
So at this time I didn't. I was just using a hustler mentality of kind of where I was from, cash in, cash out. I'll make it back. And once you get in bad with the government, into debt with the government, IRS or any other local taxes, the Bureau of Workmen's Comp, if you have staff, if you have job and family services, you pay into that if you have staff. IT 501 taxes you pay for. It's a lot of insurances that company pays for its employees as a protection. 941 taxes that can be paid every 2 weeks, every month, every quarter, depending on what the IRS rates it to be. But for us, because our payroll is so high, we have to pay those taxes every 2 weeks. Every time employees are paid, they get paid. It's like, oh yeah, we got a paycheck too, and we have to show up.
Yeah, that's something.
That's something, man. And it's hurtful sometimes. Not on that notion. Bet, man. So I'll say this, on the employee side of things, having to pay the taxes for employees. That's what you sign up for in your fine print as the employer when you're signing up as a W-2. They're contracting with you of like, hey, this is what I'm willing to do. If you contract with them like 1099 and you're just paying them out of pocket, they are responsible of having to pay their own Social Security taxes and Medicaid taxes and things on their own. But a lot of times people do that when they're self-employed or miscellaneous because your stuff is pre-tax. Yeah. You kind of have a better understanding of what projections you have coming in and coming out and how you're kind of placing your money. So that being said, when we started out in business, we started out as a sole proprietor LLC, and all of our finance was 1099.
Yeah.
As we started to grow and make more money, it was suggested to us to be able to get a tax benefit to open up a corporation that would allow us, and it's basically a filing with the IRS, with the government. We filed a company. We allowed people to get to hold up their LLCs. That's a filing with the state of Ohio of licensing as a company. Mm-hmm. After that, you license with the IRS. You'll get your EIN number, and they kind of classify what industry you in, so you're taxed properly. After that, you go to the bank and you can open up a actual business bank account. Now your business is a legitimate person. So in that way, in that filing, and that's basically how you set up a business on paper. But when we set up our business on paper like that, we were a LLC, sole proprietor, just my name. As we started to hire and grow, I was paying out unemployment tax and Social Security tax and Medicaid tax on the schedules that were stated by these government departments. On the back end of the profits that we still had to live off of and maintain, that we still weren't sure really how to, because we never did it, we got taxed still as an employee. I mean, we got double tax technically.
Yeah.
Because we're paying taxes for the employees along with us doing work. And then we got taxed on the remaining finance, especially if we didn't have enough write-offs to show like, hey, this is what this extra finance was used to maintain business. Yeah. Still had to be paid, but this is where the money was allotted to. So as we started to grow into it was suggested to not be double taxed and the company can get some type of tax break. and I'm not too big on the numbers. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say it's like a 15.9% tax break.
Tell us what you know.
But a 15% point tax break on like your P&L on your money. My accountant know the terms.
That's his job.
That's his job. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ken Slovic from Kelly's Tax. That's my man.
Shout out to you, Ken.
But
love you.
But he basically suggested like, hey man, for the money that you're making to not be taxed so much, it's time to open you up a corporation. And that will allow you to become like, you'll become a C-Corp or S-Corp, however you want to classify it. S-Corp is like a single corporation, or a C-Corp is, I think, it's like one corporation that operates or oversees another corporation. Probably got a YouTube or Google that a little bit more. But you get a tax break because now you get to put yourself as an employee of the company, and you get a tax break. And when you're paying your employee taxes, you're paying those taxes in for yourself as well.
Got you.
You have to put yourself on salary. You have to take a substantial salary. But you get a tax break and you're not being double taxed or even triple taxed.
For sure. It's not that,
But does that make sense, man? I know that's a lot.
No,
but
for sure. Does that definitely make sense, man? I'm pretty sure the freedom speakers out there appreciate the knowledge. I know I do, and just learning this stuff, man. But taxes is something that you really want to know about, especially if you're looking to get into business. I know a few entrepreneurs who all share the same sentiments of, man, just getting into it, I made some mistakes. I didn't know, and then had to kind of go back and get it right. And it ended up costing me. But, we live and we learn. We live and we learn.
King man.